Welcome to another episode of LoveTenisha. It has been a while. And what I love about my lovies are y'all will not let me stay away. I receive messages all the time about, when are you picking back up LoveTenisha? We want another episode. When are you revamping the podcast? And I appreciate the push. I appreciate the pull. I appreciate all of those that reach out on a consistent basis asking about LoveTenisha. So here is an episode that is pretty personal to me. I went back and forth with myself for months about whether or not I wanted to make this public, about whether or not this was something I wanted to share with the world. I typically am a person that goes through the harder seasons in life privately, and then I come out with victory, and then I share like, oh y'all, let me tell you about what I just went through the last 6 months. But I had someone to say to me, it was my godmom actually. She said to me one time, she said, nobody wants to hear about it after you've come out. Like, yes, that's great that you can come out, and teach people or talk to people about, how you survived, but people want to see how you walk through it. People want to see in real time, I'm struggling right now today, and these are the tools that I use to come out, and I remember being challenged in that moment when she said that, because I'm like, that goes against who I am. Like, I don't want to show the hard stuff to the public. I want to just come out and then tell you, okay, let me tell y'all what happened. But I'm challenged today to bring you in my current hard season and let you know what I'm doing to maintain, what I'm doing to keep my mind stayed on the Lord, and how when I do come out of this valley season, how I know I'll be better equipped because of what I'm learning in this season. So today's episode is called Lessons in the Loss. Learning in the loss. Learning lessons in the loss. Let's get into it. So last year, in September, it was September 14th. I remember specifically, I was laying in my bed and it was not quite time for me to get up for work. It was maybe around 8 o'clock. I worked remotely, worked from home. So my alarm would go off every morning, 8:30, so that I can get up, brush my teeth. If I wanted to put on makeup, throw on makeup a little bit, throw on a presentable top, and then get ready for my meetings, But this particular day, I received a phone call much earlier before it was my time to awake. And immediately my spirit was alarmed. It was someone that I normally talk to, so it didn't alarm me that she was calling, but it alarmed me the time that she was calling. So I did not answer at the time because I'm like, my alarm has not even gone off. Like, let me just get these last few moments of sleep. And then she texted me and said, we have a problem. So I called her back, and it was someone that I had worked with for many years. She had been like a professional mentor. She was my boss, but she also ushered me into my most recent role where I was working for a rather large company, a pretty impressive company, She ushered me into that role. She's the one that helped provide the opportunity for me to land the job that I had working where I worked. And she called and she said, we have a problem. So when I woke up and I called her back, she said, they have suspended your contract. Your contract is terminated. And she said, and it is their intent to continue to allow you to work for the rest of the week, knowing that pretty much you're going to be fired on Friday. This was, I believe, like a Tuesday. But I cannot know that and sleep well at night. So I wanted to give you the heads up that this is the plan. Post this week, you will not have a job. So I remember in the moment being like, okay, thank you for that heads up. I appreciate it. Now in general, let me just explain. Those that know me know, but many of you don't. I am a person that handles pressure really well. I'm not easily frazzled, and maybe because I've been through a few things in my own life, I've had to walk through some things. So I'm just not easily frazzled. I know how to keep it calm. So I wasn't like, oh my God, wait, what? That never happened. I was just like, okay, thank you for giving me the heads up. And I continued to work the rest of that day, the next day, and so forth, knowing that I was about to get fired. And that particular day, again, it was September 14th, 2023. I got myself dressed. I called one of my good girlfriends, one of my close friends, and I said, girl, I just got news that I'm about to get fired. And she was like, what? So she was like, let's take ourselves out to eat. Like, get dressed. Let's go to lunch because this is a crazy day. So let's go to lunch. So I took myself out to lunch and everything because I was not worried. Like, never did it cross my mind that this is permanent. Never did it cross my mind that, like, this is going to be a long season. For me, it's like, I've never gotten fired ever in my life. Actually, it's been the complete opposite. Every single job I've ever had, they've begged me not to leave. Like, when it would be time for me to transition to another company or to another role, like the previous company would be like, no, don't leave us. We love you. You're so amazing. Like, so I've never had issues with retention at a company. And even this current company that I'm speaking of, never were there any conversations or warnings or anything. So it wasn't that I was being fired because of performance or anything to this day. I mean, anyway. But yeah, so for me, it was like, this won't last long. Like, let me take myself out to eat and I actually did a video. I'm going to insert it right here. I did a video and everything on that day, pretty much saying I am not worried because God is sovereign. He knows what he's doing. Watch the video.
I want to document this day. So it is September 14th, 2023 at 4 p.m. And guess what happened today? My contract ended with my job, which means I was let go. It was unexpected. Have no clue what, when, where, why, how, but it happened. But when I tell you I'm at such a peace, because for it to end so abruptly, I know the Lord's hands are in it. Like, I know the Lord. Let me tell you something. Things may catch you by surprise, but God is not scratching his head confused at why things have happened the way they happened. He knew this was going to happen way before it happened, and because of that, you have to trust his sovereignty and trust that if he's never let you fail before, why will he start now?
So yeah, as you can see, I was not worried. That was September of 2023. I am currently filming this episode in August of 2024, which makes 11 months and I still have not been able to find work. So it has been almost a year since I have had income. It has been almost a year since I have gotten up and had to clock into someone's job to make a living. And though that sounds ideal to be able to like do what you want during the day, it was cute until it wasn't. I have worked since I was 16 years old. I got my first job working for the company Justice. Remember that cute little girl clothing store used to be called Limited Too? All of my fashion girlies, I think you know what I'm talking about. And since I was 16 years old, I've had a job, and I've never been a job hopper. So I don't have this long resume where I've worked for a million companies, but the companies I have worked for have all been reputable companies where I've had great roles. I've sat in great seats. I've been in great rooms, and every company also that I worked for, they recruited me. So I've never even had to really apply for a job. It was always like a company saying, hey, I heard you were amazing. Can you come work for us? And then I would be recruited to work for these different companies. So this was new for me, new for me to be let go of, and then to be rejected time and time and time again when I'm applying for these new jobs and I'm not hearing back. I'm getting emails saying we decided to go another direction. It's like, I'm used to people banging down my door trying to get me to work for them. What in the world, you know? So this episode is about things that I have learned and lost, because it has challenged me tremendously in ways that I had never walked through before. I didn't realize that a part of my identity, and in season 1 of LoveTenisha Podcast, I taught, my very first episode was about identity, you know, being mindful of what you put your identity in. But it challenged that same area, that very area, for me, because I didn't recognize that so much of my identity had been tied in how I was able to provide for myself and how I had climbed this corporate ladder, and how, you know, I was able to book a flight on any given day and go visit a friend up north, or, you know, eat what I wanted to, buy what I wanted to, purchase my very first home, like, you know, put it in my name, purchase my own luxury vehicles. Like, I didn't recognize that so much of my identity had been tied into how I was able to provide for myself and being this boss woman at a young age. So now, with me not having income and having to rely on my own savings account, and then people that love me and won't let me drown in debt, it whew, it challenged me in ways I was not prepared for. I did not realize how much pride I had, you know, with now being in a situation where you need people's help, but you don't want to ask, you know, or even being embarrassed to tell people that you're unemployed. Like, it's been a journey. It has been a journey, and it has taught me such compassion for those that are unemployed. And like, for me, I know that this is a season. For me, I know that this is temporary. I know that I am called to millions. I know that I'm called to riches. I know that I'm called to be a kingdom financier, to finance the kingdom. I know that, you know. So I know, even though I'm still currently in it, I know that this is not permanent, but there's so many other people that have lived a life of working paycheck to paycheck, have lived a life of not knowing how they're going to pay their bills. So it has taught me such compassion for those that have dealt with this every day for years. Like, this has only been almost a year for me, and it's been excruciating. So it has taught me such compassion for those that have lived a life of this, you know, a life of not knowing how they're going to make ends meet. So these are just a few things that I've learned while walking through this season. And already I'm fighting back tears already, because it's such a vulnerable episode, because it's just a vulnerable place. I told someone one time, I feel like this is the lowest I've ever been. And I'm not just talking about financially, although that's the reality, because I don't have income. I just mean, and how I've struggled to view myself through the lens of the Father. Like, God doesn't change your worth or your value because you don't seemingly have income or anything to offer right now. That's how I felt. Like, I don't have anything to offer. I'm a sower. Like, I love to sow. I'm one of those people, whatever the preacher asks for in the service, I'm going to give it. So not being able to sow what I want to sow each and every Sunday, not being able to take care of people's needs. I'm a person, if I hear somebody say, you know, they're just whatever, I'm gonna slide you some money. Here you go. Pay that off. Like, I'm gonna fight over the check when we go out to eat. I'm treating you always. I've always been that person, and the people in my life can attest for that. So to be in this season now where I just don't feel like I have anything to give. That has been, y'all. So these are just some of the things that I've learned in loss. What has felt like a season of loss for me. One, community matters. Your community matters. Thankfully, this is the part, that's gonna bring me to tears. Thankfully, the people that have helped me financially, wow, what is happening? Have not made me feel like a burden. They have not made me feel like a burden. That I would not be able to take. So, your community matters when you're going through loss, whether it's loss of job, loss of career, loss of a loved one, loss of a relationship. You want people around you that don't make you feel like a burden, that don't make you feel like your struggle is too heavy for them to help you carry. So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the friends that, have sent me lunch. I'm so grateful for the friends that have said, because you can't shop, I'm not going to be shopping. I'm so grateful for the friends that have sat with me in this, for the family members that have said, do you have gas in your car? And I might be like, yeah, I have gas. Well, here's extra for me to fill up your tank. Like, it's the small things that have actually been major, So grateful. One time I got home and my sister had groceries delivered to my house. Like, not asking me, hey, let me know if you need anything, but I'm just going to feel the need. Whether you need it or not, I'm just going to do it. Your community matters. And not just because of people that are able to help financially, but people that understand your situation, Get around people that operate with a level of compassion and they know your heart. Like, I think that's been the big thing. The people that are around me, they know that if I could do it, I would do it. I have a nephew that have been preparing for college, and I'm that auntie, send me your registry because I'm buying this, but I remember apologizing to my sister, like, I'm so sorry I can't help with my nephew's college stuff, she's like, girl, the years that you have helped, like, so the people that just know your heart, like, get it, your community matters. So if you don't have a community right now, ask the Father, Lord, you not only know what I'm going through right now, you know what's up the road. You know the things that I am going to face. So send me the people that have my heart. Not only that, send me the people that have your heart. Send me the people that don't make me feel like a burden in this current season. Because this season is not forever. There's Ecclesiastes said there's a time for everything. There's a season for everything. This isn't permanent. This is just the season. So Lord, send me and surround me with people that's going to wrap me in their love and remind me, whether you're on a mountain or in the valley, we're in it together. So that's one thing I have learned in loss, that your community matters. It matters. Another thing that I've learned, speak it so you don't store it. When you're going through seasons of loss, of course, again, like I stated a few moments ago, it may not be because of employment. It could be you're grieving a relationship. It could be you're grieving a person. It could be anything. I think, at some point we've all experienced loss, loss of good health. Some people have been diagnosed with something and it's like, I had good health all of these years and now all of a sudden my reality has changed. Speak it so you don't store it. And this is something that I still am challenged with, because I am a watch your words type of girl. I am a speak those things that are not as though they are type of girl. I am a girl that talks faith and faith only. I am a girl that I do believe your words create your world. I've heard my godparents say that. I believe that your words create your world. So I have always been so very careful with saying certain things out loud, because I've always felt like though I feel it, I'm not releasing it into the atmosphere. Like, and I don't want, this is how I felt. The enemy, Satan, is not omniscient. He's not all knowing like our Heavenly Father is. So he doesn't know that I'm struggling with fear until I say, I'm fearful, I'm afraid. And I've always felt like when I say it, that's when the attacks may come, because now he's aware I'm struggling in that area. So he gonna poke that area. So a lot of times I would just keep stuff on the inside. But guess what? That's eating away at you too. Like, so I do think there's a way to say certain things where you're not speaking it into existence, but you're not storing it. That gets so heavy. So in this process, in this season, there have been things that I've confessed to trusted people, like, I'm struggling with this, or, I'm feeling like I don't have anything to offer and I don't know how to combat that feeling, or I've been feeling really insecure because of this, so speak it so that you don't store it, because when you store it, it gets heavy. And guess what? When it's too heavy for you to carry, you're going to break. And now that's the responsibility of the people around you to patch you back up. You're not speaking it into existence. You're just sharing it with a trusted source so that you're not carrying it alone. Storing it gets heavy. Another thing, this is huge. We live, I feel like, in a culture where suicide is at an all-time high, and everyone, is claiming that they're depressed. And I don't mean that in an insensitive way, but it is a word that's thrown around a lot. And I feel like, guess what can combat that? Gratitude. So my third thing that I've learned is to find reasons to be grateful. Find reasons to be grateful. Because when you start looking at, like, even in this current season, I've not had income, y'all, in a year. I've not had income in a year. Which means I'm not able to just do things that I've done my whole adulthood. My entire adulthood, I've had to sacrifice a lot of stuff. But guess what? I'm sitting in a house that's in my name, that I own. That's not rented, that I own. My car has not been repossessed. So when I start thinking about even God's faithfulness, I have on lashes right now. Now, I've had to not be able to get them done. I've had to not be able to get my nails done or go longer than I would like. But when you start thinking, I'm in perfect health. Just went to the doctor and nothing is wrong. I'm in perfect health. When you start going down the list of things to be grateful for, and I remember somebody shared one time, you should do the alphabets of gratitude. And I'm like, what does that mean? Find something to be grateful for each alphabet. So, A, I'm grateful for the right attitude. I'm grateful, what's another A? I'm grateful for an appetite. You know how many people don't have appetites? People that are going through chemo. My mom is a breast cancer survivor. She couldn't even eat certain things because she didn't have an appetite. I'm grateful for a positive attitude. I'm grateful for an appetite. B, I'm grateful for brains. I'm grateful for a brain. I'm grateful for a brain that works. Do you know how many people have Alzheimer's? How many people have dementia? They don't know what their name is. They don't know what day it is. I'm grateful for my brain. I'm grateful for beauty. I'm grateful that beauty has offered me certain brand deals. I'm grateful for my belief in the Father. I'm grateful, that I have a desire to seek His word. C, I'm grateful for community. I'm grateful for friends and family that love me, that support me, that won't let me drown, that won't let me go in the cave. D, I'm great. So just the alphabet. And when you start thinking about that thing, I'm talking about the stuff that we don't normally thank God for. Like, it will combat depression. It will combat sadness. So on days where I don't know, like, oh, I just got a notification that this is due and I don't have the money, or, just whatever. I check my email, and a job I was really believing God for, I get a notification, you've not been accepted. Like when those moments come that can feel like a knock in your face, I immediately, God, I'm thankful for, and I find reasons to be grateful. Find reasons to be grateful. And guess what? You don't have to look far, wide. You don't have to look, because they're right there in your face. The last thing that I want to share is, don't attach his goodness to the outcome. So many times we live this salvation walk performance based. I think, the reason why I was able to not panic when I lost my job is because I knew God is about to spin the block. God is about to show out for me. I give it a month. I give it 2 weeks and I'm going to have something. Like, there was just this assurance that it was going to happen on my time, that, I won't be without a job for long. And here I am a year later, and I still don't have one. But guess what? He's still good. He's still faithful. I believe, the story in the Bible where King Nebuchadnezzar was trying to get Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to bow. And because they refused to bow and serve another God that wasn't the God, they got thrown in the fire. And one of them said, I believe God can deliver us from this. But if he doesn't, he's still good. I believe he'll set us free. I believe he'll deliver us. I believe he'll snatch us out. But if he doesn't, he's still kind. He's still faithful. So that's something that I have just been mindful of going through this. I want every morning, I'm like, Lord, this is the day. This is the day I'm going to receive a call. This is the day, because, people can assume you're not looking for stuff, but around the clock, I am putting the applications. Around the clock, I'm making calls. So I wake up every morning with expectation, okay, maybe today someone will call me. Maybe today someone will email me. But I've tried to remind myself constantly, if it doesn't happen the way you want it to happen, he's still faithful. If they don't call you back and God goes another direction, there's another route he's trying to take you on, he's still faithful. If it won't. But if someone does lose their house, I won't even say me. If someone does lose their car because they can't afford to keep up with it, he's still good. So don't attach the outcome to his goodness, because he's still faithful. He's still a faithful father. And there's just some journeys that we have to walk through because it develops something on the inside of us. So there's so many more lessons I've learned. And if you want a part 2 of this, I would love to hear you say more in the comments. I want you to drop in the comments if this helped you. And though it's uncomfortable for me to be this vulnerable and let people know I'm struggling. I am struggling. As good as I look, I am struggling. It is uncomfortable. I do believe this is necessary. And I thank God for my godmom. I have more than one, so let me be specific. Lady Pastor Lorana Phelps, who said, nobody wants to hear about your struggle after you come out. People want to see how you walk through it. People want to see what hurts your heart today. What's aching you right now? How are you walking out of this? It's not really relevant anymore once you come out with the trophy. I want to see the journey. So this is me inviting you into the journey as I'm walking through what has felt like a year of loss, because that's just one thing. That's just one thing. That doesn't include other things that I've had to face or other things that I've had to walk through. So thank you for tuning in this episode where I am learning in loss and I'm valuing the lessons in the loss. Until next time, thank you, lovies.